When I hike alone. The road feels better that way. The first miles are full of stray thoughts, but as I follow my route, my mind clears. I stop wrestling with distractions. I just notice the air, the terrain beneath my feet, the distance ahead, and what I need in the moment. I make my living in a digital, abstract world. Dashboards, contracts, energy I cannot see. It does good in the world. It's clean, but it is intangible. Hiking returns me to a simpler truth, the reward of hard labor, of planning well, following a route, and accepting the risks that come with it. Like generations before me, I earn the satisfaction of arriving. I am not reckless. I share my routes with friends, checking in at the start and end of each day. Still, risk is part of solo hiking. A fall or sprain in a remote place, heat stroke, losing the trail, dehydration and disorientation have all been enough to cost people very dearly. In the summer heat of La Mancha or Tuscany, the dawn gives me hours of cool air, and forest or cloud cover are welcome companions against a midday sun I don't want to confront. In Northern Europe, the cooler summers help, but river valleys can be heavy with insects, and it is best to avoid the months when larger animals are in cubbing season, and especially sensitive to noisy humans. Whatever the route, preparation and knowing the terrain are everything. My boots have carried me across the Camino de Santiago, the Cervantes Trail of La Mancha, the English Cotswolds, parts of Ireland's wild Atlantic Way, the Rif Mountains of northern Morocco, the Great Baltic Trails, and even across southern Poland from Krakow right to the border with Ukraine. Each route had its own challenge and meaning, its own culture and rhythm. Europe is crowded, yes, but its national parks and the old pilgrim routes that are sprinkled across it are amongst its great rural treasures. On a long continuous hike, known as a through hike, the pack must be as light as possible, usually about 11 kilos in my case, plus 2 to 3 kilos more for water at the outset of each day. But for 10 or more days on the road, a few things are essential regardless of weight. A first aid kit, a camping light, a battery pack, rain gear, and a change of clothes for the days when a washing machine isn't there to keep me acceptable in civilized society. So why do I hike alone? Because the road decides for me where to linger, when to push on, when to eat, when to rest. Nothing is a burden when I carry only myself. I don't complain when my feet are tired and the road doesn't care if I do. Friends made along the way may appear again at day's end, and evenings with them are often social and warm. But my contentment comes when I am alone, when body and mind are united in solitary purpose. Hiking has always been part of my life. As a boy, I roamed the Shannon Estuary and the woods of East County Clare. As an adult, I've walked the trails of Andalusia, where autumn and spring are kind to hikers. In the middle, I lived in London for 7 years and enjoyed city life, until COVID condemned me to solitary confinement. And I promised myself then that if life returned to anything like normal, I would walk thousands of miles of old pilgrim routes. And I'm keeping that promise. For as long as health allows, I will hike, not rejecting city life, but purifying it with these journeys. And if I had to put the feeling into words, I would borrow from W.B. Yeats, who, while living in London, dreamed of wild places where he might find peace. A peace he described as dropping slow, like lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore, a sound carried in the deep heart's core.